Well, good evening. We are cutting into your regular scheduled programming due to a tornado warning in portions of Talbot into Upson County. Now, this tornado warning goes until 10 p.m. Eastern Time, and we did have a tornado possible tag on this larger severe thunderstorm warning, but over the past couple of scans, we've noticed that this rotation has continued to tighten. Now, we see heavy rainfall through Woodland, which is where that rotation is a little bit tighter than what we would like it. So Woodland back down towards the south. Tobbleton, a lot of this is going off to your north, so Woodland, go ahead and be in your safe place. So really this is going to be in portions of northern Talbot County, Meriwether County. You are not included in this tornado warning. And this is going to go for the next 40 minutes into the next 30 minutes, and we're going to stay with you until this clears the viewing area into Upson County, or this is canceled almost entirely. So you can see we have pretty strong winds just to the south of Woodland, and we're going to do a couple of queries on this to see exactly how strong some of these winds are, or what we call velocity queries, so we can kind of get a sense of how strong these winds are back to back as they go throughout the radar. And we're getting anywhere from 30 to 40 mile-per-hour winds. That might not seem like a lot, but when we are seeing these broad rotations, that's just an indication that we are getting some higher scans up in the atmosphere, and we are getting some of those stronger winds. But we're going to continue to keep an eye on this. So Beale, go ahead and be in your safe place. Woodland, be in your safe place. If you live in Poplar Crossroads, you are just to the south of this warning box, but not all tornadoes go in a straight line. So go ahead and get the kids, be in your safe place. Keep an eye on this. Pobity Crossroads. This is going to go to your north, but you're going to see some pretty strong winds, because even if we don't have a tornado warning in your area, all along this line we are experiencing strong winds. Just north of Tobbleton, be in your safe place. Even though we don't have a really tight rotation right now, we are still seeing broad rotation, and you can see as the past couple of scans, last 10-15 minutes, those bright greens, those bright reds, that's where we are seeing an area of tornado that would warrant a tornado warning. Also through Woodland, just passing through Woodland now, that's also another area of rotation. So two different areas of rotations right now, and that's also why we have such a large area across portions of Talbot County and all the way back down to Marion and Muskogee County. All along that line, we have seen brief little areas or brief spin-ups. So all of that red, Woodbury, Manchester, Tobbleton, even if you're not in the warning box for now, keep in mind this line has had a habit of just brief spin-ups and also brief rotations over the past hour, hour and a half. And we've been tracking that same line all through Harris County, Muskogee County, now finally Talbot County. So if you're living in Tobbleton, you've got really heavy rainfall right now. Woodland, heavy rainfall. We have those strong winds moving through. As of right now, no active tornado on the ground. Right now we're using what we call debris detector or CC scan. This allows us to see if we are pinging rainfall. We have red and yellows. Those are going to be rainfall or hail. But when we get blues, grays, and a little bit of green, that's an indication that we're hitting something that's not liquid. We're not hitting rain. So right now, where we have those greens and yellows just to the north of Woodland, that's likely going to be hail within that storm. If we get a little circle, that's going to be an indication that we likely have a tornado on the ground. And right now, we're not seeing that, which is great news. So right now, still seeing some very broad rotation, not as tight as it was when it was coming through Woodland, but we're still going to keep an eye on that the further that we do get. So areas that need to be in your safe place. I'm going to keep repeating these over the next 20 to 30 minutes as long as we have this tornado warning, because these areas are going to change. Pobity Road all the way to Roland, you're just to the north of this, but go ahead, keep an eye on this storm, because once again, tornadoes do not go in a straight line. Woodland, remain in your safe place for another 10 to 15 minutes, because we're still going to have those strong winds as this line moves through. Cunningham Crossroads, this is going to go just to your south, but we're still seeing strong severe thunderstorm winds within your area. Hawkins Crossroads, you're going to be clear within the next 10 to 15 minutes, but once again, Pobity Road all the way down to portions of Ellis and Pound Road, be in your safe place as this tornado warning continues until 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Another thing that I do want to point out, we do have some hail with this thunderstorm, just less than a quarter size, and all of these thunderstorms today have been producing some hail within this system. So bright greens, bright reds, those are indications of some stronger winds. And if I dial this back just a couple of minutes, you can see we had a little bit tighter rotation moving into Woodland, north of Tombleton. We kind of have two areas of rotations that we're going to be watching, but over the last couple of scans, not quite as impressive, and that's good news. No active tornado on the ground, but we're going to be watching it because they could still spin up over the next couple of minutes, and we're going to be tracking these until this is either canceled, expired, or out of the viewing area. Now, if you're wondering, okay, Kaylee, where do I go? Where do I need to be? The safest place in your home is away from any of those exterior walls, any of those windows. So if you have a one-story home, you're going to get into a bathroom, a closet, get away from any of those windows or walls. And if you have a two-story home, it's going to be the basement. That's going to be the best option. And also, you're just going to get to the lowest level of your home. So if you don't have a basement, once again, it's going to be that closet, that bathroom on that first level of your home. And the most important thing to do is not panic. You know, we have these storms every year. We know where that safe place is in our home, and just get your kids, go ahead and be where you need to be and stay there until this warning is expired. So Woodland, we're still seeing those stronger winds move through. The worst of it is out of here, Hawkins Cross Road. We're still seeing the strong winds, but the worst and the tornadic potential is out of your area. Po-Biddy Road, be in your safe place, stay in your safe place until this tornado warning is out of here. Beale, you're looking good for now. This is just passing over you right now, but overall, the rotation is not near as impressive as it was earlier, but we're going to remain with you until this expires or is canceled. But I do also want to point out, this is not the only thing that we're looking at. We have a lot of strong winds all along this line, and we have tornado possible tags, which means very broad rotation, all the way down into southern Talbot County, because we have multiple areas of weak rotations. So Junction City, keep an eye on the radar. Butler, you're not in any warning whatsoever right now, but this is what's headed your way. Waverly Hall, Pine Mountain, West Point Valley, you can go to bed, you can go to sleep. Smith Station, the worst of this is just already clearing out. And we do have that tornado possible tag all the way down to Marion County and northeast Muskogee County, excuse me. Now Columbus, heavy rainfall for now. Give it another 30 minutes to another hour, and then we're just going to have that light rainfall. And we have a strong thunderstorm warning all the way down to Hurtsboro, Midway. Heavy rainfall and a lot of lightning with these storms. Now, when we have an increase in lightning, that's an indication that these storms are gaining strength. They're gaining speed. And these storms have been moving pretty fast within the last hour. They were moving slow earlier today, but they've been picking up speed. But this one, what we call a comma head, where we see that kind of move in right around northern Talbot County, that's where we're seeing a little area of rotation as it continues to move out, and we're going to continue to keep an eye on it. So it might not seem like a lot, but those bright greens, that's what we're going to be keeping an eye on right around portions of northern Talbot County right here, and all the way back down. We're going to be watching it very closely over the next couple of minutes, and you can see how they're kind of chopping away that tornado warning. So Woodland, you're right on the edge. Western Woodland, you can go to sleep. Shiloh, you can go to sleep. Manchester, you still got some heavy rainfall, but overall, you can go to sleep for now. That tornado potential is out of your area. The areas that need to be keeping a very close eye, that is going to be north of Macon Highway, northeast Talbot County, Poplar Crossroads along there, Po-Biddy Road. You're probably seeing that really strong wind, a lot of lightning, and also some hail with this storm. That's why we're going to be monitoring this very closely. Bright greens, bright reds, that's that rotation. And of course, we're going to be watching this for you over the next hour to 2 hours until this is out of here. And we're going to continue to do those velocity queries for you so we can see an indication of how strong these winds are. So those greens, 41 miles per hour, but then we have to add on the reds on the other side of it. So we could see potentially upwards of 60 miles per hour along this line of storm. So we have the winds going from one direction and they shift and they go to the other direction. That's why we have to add them up to get the total wind speed along this line of storms. And even if you're not on that tornado warning, we have straight line winds all along that line where we go from one direction all the way to the other. And we do have that tornado warning, that severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag on it all the way down towards Marion counties. And the good news is still not looking quite as impressive, really strong winds along with it. They're not talking about canceling this for now. We're just going to continue to watch this because of how fast these storms have spun up. The one area that I do really want to keep an eye on It's just that one little area of bright green right around Pobity Road, just because it's looking a little bit tight, and we do see those bright greens right there, which could be a sign that we are seeing an enhancement or strengthening along that area, but overall not too bad. And we don't see any CC or a debris signature anywhere along that line. And we actually are hearing some thunder here at the station as that line continues to move through portions of Muskogee County. But see, we don't have any of those greens, yellows, or grays, so that means everything that we're hitting in the atmosphere is liquid. It's rain. All of that red is rain, which is good news. No confirmed tornado on the ground. But further up in portions of northern Talbot County, we have a little bit of hail where we see that pink and those purples and those dark reds. That's what we call a hail core. So we can just tell just by looking at that we do have some hail with this system. And so this is going to continue potentially to strengthen on the northern end of this as it exits our viewing area. But to the south, where we did have that rotation, overall not near as much lightning, but still going to keep a very close eye on that one little area of bright green just to the north of Pobity Road. So Buncombe Road, go ahead and stay in your safe place until this is past you. Pobity Road, probably going over you right now. County Road 1, if you live along that line, probably seeing very strong winds right now, but I think the main area of concern is going to your north. Gibson Road, seeing heavy rainfall, but overall, I think you're going to be able to go to bed quite soon. If you're living on the northern end of the county, along portions of Allison Pound Road, you're still seeing heavy rainfall for now, and maybe a little bit of hail has just moved through, but you're going to be able to go to bed within the next 10 to 15 minutes. Cunningham Crossroads, good to go to bed. Tax Crossroads, good. Woodland, you're good now. I know you had some pretty strong winds move through where we had a little bit of circulation over you just a few minutes ago. But if you live anywhere along the county line, moving into Upson as well, stay in your safe place. Roland, you might even have a little bit of hail move through within the next 10-15 minutes. If you live along State Route 36, stay in your safe place, because even if we do not have an active tornado on the ground, winds can still cause damage, winds can still cause fatalities. Stay in your safe place until this line of storms is out of here. And when we have those bright greens, those bright reds, we're watching anywhere along where we switch from green to red to see if we have any kinks along that line, to see if we have any brief circulations, brief rotations. But once again, no active tornadoes on the ground, but we're going to stay with you over the next 30 minutes to see if this thing can produce a tornado at all. But as of now, no active tornado on the ground, but we are getting some reports of trees on residences in Woodland as those storms are moving through. No indication that this was tornado damage. It could have just been wind damage, but we do have damage over in Woodland, and that is from Emergency Management in Talbot County. And we're still going to see damage reports come across the area after these storms have moved through. And I do want to point out, if you have to get out on the roads tomorrow morning, be very cautious. We are going to have power outages, we are going to have trees down, and we're also going to have power lines down. So please keep that in mind if you have to get out on the roads tomorrow morning. Use extreme caution. Areas that still need to be in their safe place, keep that in mind. Continue to watch the radar. Pobity Road, you're going to have to be in your safe place, really East Pobity Road. Stay in your safe place where we see those bright greens transitioning to reds. North end of the county, also stay in your safe roads. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so you can see some of those smaller roads. Portions of Harvey Ingram Road, we're continuing to see that move off to your east. You're given another 10-15 minutes just because we have those strong winds moving through and that heavy rainfall. But overall, that northern end has begun to move into Upson County. We're still watching that southern end that's just to the north of George Smith Road. After that gets out of the county and into Upson County, then we will turn you to your normal programming. But right now, we're still keeping an eye on that for the next 15-20 minutes. Jeff Hendricks Road, you're good to go to bed. We do have a little bit of heavy rainfall that is moving off to your north, but where we had that hail core, Roland, that is going to continue to be probably the strongest part of this storm, and they are continuing to adjust this tornado warning polygon into portions of Upson, and they're going to continue to chop away at that depending on how this storm behaves. And I'm going to also continue to point out that we still have a tornado possible tag, which means very broad rotation anywhere along that line for almost all of Talbot County into Taylor County, Marion, and also Muskogee County, because all along this line, from Atlanta all the way back down into Union Springs has had a history of brief circulations. We had a brief circulation in Lee County, into portions of Harris County, and now Talbot County. So even if you're not in a warning at all, keep an eye on the radar until this is out of here. We expect it to clear the entire viewing area by 11 o'clock tonight. Now Columbus, experiencing pretty heavy rainfall right now. Northwest Columbus is going to be able to go to bed in the next 10 to 15 minutes. But we're seeing a lot of lightning down to Fort Benning. You're seeing that rain pick up. We're also seeing a little outflow boundary. That outflow boundary, that little green line that you're seeing coming out of Fort Benning, that helps to fuel those storms. So it's what we call a cold pull. Now, storms love when we have those outflow boundaries. We're probably going to see a little bit more pickup out ahead of that line, and heavy rainfall all the way down to Hurtsboro. Actually, Hurtsboro is probably going to be able to go to bed in the next 10 to 15 minutes. Midway, seeing that really heavy rainfall and a good bit of lightning, but overall, no severe storms, just that strong thunderstorm alert or special weather statement all along that line. Now, we could see a couple of circulations along that line later on tonight because we have those temperatures that are pretty warm and we have pretty high dew points. And we're also still seeing a few severe thunderstorm watches, and I want to update everyone that's keeping an eye on those. Now, we have the severe thunderstorm watch in place for almost all of our Alabama counties. The only county that has been cleared from earlier today is Chambers County. So Lee, Russell, back down towards Barber, you still have those. They'll be clearing those as that line moves through. And also we have Meriwether County, Talbot County, Taylor County has now been added. This is new from earlier. And as this line goes down, even if you're not in a watch, you could be added later on tonight. So keep an eye on the radar. We expect this to clear the entire area by 11, 12 o'clock tonight, and that's going to be Eastern time. So back to this tornado warning that we've been tracking. Overall, the worst is now mostly out of the viewing area. We're just going to take one more look at that rotation to see how it's doing. But the heaviest rain's out of here. We have this one little area right on the county line that's looking a little bit more impressive than it was earlier. But overall, we have a more linear area of rotation. Those bright greens, those bright reds. Even if it's not a tornado on the ground, one thing I still want to point out, we have those straight line winds. When we go immediately from green to red, we are seeing pretty strong winds anywhere along this line. I'm going to keep doing those velocity queries so you can see roughly how strong those winds would be. So we go from 33 to 18 miles per hour. We're talking anywhere from 50 to 60 miles per hour, which would warrant a severe thunderstorm warning along that line, which most of Talbot County is in. Now we're going to continue to keep an eye on this. I'm going to say another 5 minutes until the worst of it is out of Talbot County, and then we will return you to your normal scheduled programming. Now, once again, the good news, we have had no CC drop, which means no debris has been detected on the ground, which means no tornado has been detected on the ground. But overall, still seeing those strong winds move through portions of Talbot County. Give it another 5-10 minutes until it's in Upson County. Pobity Road, you can finally go to sleep. Woodland, you can start going to sleep. Cunningham Crossroads, Beale, Hawkins Crossroads, you are all good to go. Tobbleton, you're good to go. Olive Branch, you can go to sleep too. As you can see, the heaviest rain now moving into portions of Upson County. We have a little bit, and this one little area right on the county line, gonna give it another 5 minutes as it continues towards the northeast. And I think they're gonna be getting ready to get rid of some areas in portions of Talbot County, but I think we're just gonna keep an eye on this for another 5 minutes before they start getting rid of that. But overall, no other updates in portions of Talbot County, especially when we're coming with damages and stuff. They haven't reported anymore, so that is good news. But I do once again want to remind everybody, be careful when you get on the roads tomorrow. We've had damage reports in Lee County, we've had damage reports in Harris County and Talbot County, which means we're likely seeing damages from Columbus all the way back down towards the southeast and anywhere along this line that has moved through. And if you don't know anywhere where your safe place is and you're still in that warning area, or you're watching us in Upson County, your safe place is going to be in the innermost room of your home. If you have a one-level home, get away from any of those exterior walls, any of those windows, which would mean your bathroom, your closet. Put as many things between you and the outside as you can, and also get something to cover your head. You might not think about it until it's finally happening, but grab a book, grab a pillow, and protect your head the best you can. If you have a two-story home, if you have a basement, the basement is going to be your best bet. But if you have a two-story home and no basement, it's going to be pretty similar to that one-story home. You're going to get that bathroom, you're going to get the closet, no windows, and as many walls between you and the outside as you can. And of course, remember once again to protect you and your head. But the tornado warning continues through portions of Talbot County. Overall, we're seeing that one little area of rotation just along the county line, not moving, it's moving pretty slowly now, but overall, we're looking a lot better than we were when we prompted this tornado warning, and they are not talking about clearing it at this time. And still no CC, but also we've seen a little bit of hail. So where we saw that purple just to the north of Talbot County, hail through Woodland earlier, we're kind of rocking it back a little bit. Hail in Manchester, Woodland moved into northern Talbot County, and that's where we saw that purple on our radar earlier. And now hail is moving into portions of northern Upson County, and that's probably where the strongest bit of the storm is, which you would think would be a little bit odd when we have that rotation right there, but that's just sometimes how these storms work. So the heaviest of this rain moving through portions of Thomaston, and we had that one little area of rotation that we're watching right there on the county line. But before I return you to your normally scheduled programming, I just want to walk everyone through kind of how the rest of the night is going to look. So we have this line, Toppleton, Columbus, back down towards the south and through Hurtsboro. Heavy rainfall and a lot of lightning with the system. And remember, we don't have a lot of warnings for now. We just have these 2 warnings, but at Alabama counties, there is still a chance we could see a couple of warnings tonight because of the dew points and the humidity. Those current dew points are sitting in those 60s. Where we have a couple of 50s, the storms have already moved through. The rest of us, Columbus, back down towards Cuthbert, Fort Gaines, you're sitting in those mid-60s. Now the good news, those temperatures are cooling back down in the overnight, so we won't see quite as severe storms as what we saw earlier this evening, but the chance is still there. Now the timing for later on. We are still looking at roughly the same timing that we were earlier today. That radar forecast showing Columbus back down towards the southeast, so Eufaula. Right around 10 o'clock, you've got another hour, or 10 o'clock Central Time, and we're going to see 11 o'clock down towards America, so 11, that's going to be Eastern Time, and then we're exiting entirely by 12 o'clock, 1 a.m. Eastern Time, and then we're looking clear for your Sunday. The next rain chances don't move in until Wednesday, and then they stick around all the way through next weekend. But one more look at that system before we return you to your regularly scheduled programming. Not looking too bad. The worst of it has already moved into portions of Upson County. So Talbot County, you are looking good, even though this warning has not quite expired yet. The worst of it's already out of here, and that severe thunderstorm warning with that possible tag has now been allowed to expire. So everyone in Hamilton, Manchester, Toppleton, you are good to go to bed. But we do have that little bit of line that's still moving through. So the rest of you, we will continue to keep you updated as we continue for the rest of the night. But for now, returning you to your regular scheduled programming.